Hi everyone. Craig Murray is somebody I've referenced on this channel many times, predominantly because he was a brilliant source of information for the Skripal alleged Novichok poisoning fiasco. He was a great source of information because at the time that the Soviet Union fell back in the early 1990s, he was UK ambassador to Uzbekistan, which of course was part of the Soviet Union. And Uzbekistan was the country within the Soviet Union that had the largest chemical weapons factory, and the UK and the US had to go in there and oversee the dismantling of all these weapons. So he provided a unique insight into Novichok and a unique reference point to refute things that were said on the BBC and in Newsnight. And as far as I'm aware, nothing he's ever said has ever been proven to be false. As far as I'm aware, maybe that's not the case. I bring that point up because Craig Murray also says that he knows that the documents that WikiLeaks published did not come from a hack of the DNC, because he's met the person who actually leaked the documents to WikiLeaks. So something to bear in mind. But yesterday, this is something I was going to do a video about tomorrow, actually, but I've just seen an update on this. Yesterday, he published this on his blog, Skripal's When the BBC Hide the Truth. And he's talking about here a lady called Kirsty Eccles, who asked the BBC via a Freedom of Information Act the following questions. She said, why did BBC Newsnight correspondent Mark Urban keep secret from the licence payers that he had been having meetings with Sergei Skripal only last summer? Something I've talked about on my channel on a few videos. The BBC Newsnight correspondent did indeed meet with Sergei Skripal several occasions before he was poisoned. She then asked, when did the BBC know this? And also, please provide me with copies of all correspondence between yourselves and Mark Urban on the subject of Sergei Skripal. Yours faithfully, Kirsty Eccles. And Craig goes on to say the ramifications of this little request are enormous, as they cut right to the heart of the ramping up of the new Cold War, of the BBC's propaganda collusion with the security services to that end, and of the concoction of fraudulent evidence in the still dirty dossier. This also, of course, casts a strong light on the more plausible motives for an attack on the Skripals, which is why the BBC point-blank refused to answer Kirsty's request, stating that it was subject to the Freedom of Information exemption for journalism. This is a really good point, you see, that he's made there. If the BBC were meeting with Sergei Skripal in the months before he was poisoned, it stands to reason that one of the possibilities for him to be poisoned was the fact that he was meeting with the BBC. It's a fair thing to ask, that is. Was Sergei Skripal poisoned because of nothing to do with the dirty dossier, but because he was meeting with the BBC? Maybe an oligarch got wind of it and decided to off him. He goes on to say in this, there's the Freedom of Information request response from the BBC. They basically said, no, we're not going to do it because it's journalism. That isn't covered by the Freedom of Information Act. And he replied with this email. He said, Dear Mark Urban, BBC, Dear Mark, as you may know, I'm a journalist working in alternative media, a member of the NUJ, as well as a former British ambassador. I am researching the Skripal case. I wish to ask you the following questions. When the Skripals were first poisoned, it was the largest news story in the entire world, and you were uniquely positioned, having held several meetings with Sergei Skripal the previous year. Yet faced with what should have been a massive career break, you withheld that unique information on a major story from the public for 4 months. Why? 4 months. Okay. You were an officer in the Royal Tank Regiment together with Skripal's MI6 handler, Pablo Miller. Really? The plot thickens. Who also lived in Salisbury. Have you maintained friendship with Miller over the years, and how often do you communicate? Gets even more interesting, doesn't it? Number 3. When you met Skripal in Salisbury, was Miller present? All or part of the time, or did you meet Miller separately? Was the BBC aware of your meetings with Miller and or Skripal at the time? When, 4 months later, you told the world about your meetings with Skripal after the Rowley Sturgis incident, you said you had met him to research a book. Yet the only forthcoming book you advertised is on the Skripal attack. What was the subject of your discussions with Skripal? Pablo Miller worked for Orbis Intelligence. Do you know if Miller contributed to the Christopher Steele dossier and Trump Russia? Did you discuss the Trump dossier with all of these are fair questions. Did you discuss the Trump dossier with Skripal and or Miller? Do you know whether Skripal contributed to the Trump dossier, which is something that, we have said it's entirely possible that that's the case. Number 9, in your Newsnight piece following the Rowley Sturgis incident, you stated that security service sources had told you that Yulia Skripal's telephone may have been bugged. Since January 2017, how many security service briefings or discussions have you had on the matter above? I look forward to hearing from you. Now, I was going to do a video on this on a standalone, but something has happened today, 24 hours after he published that, which is kind of alarming. Craig Murray, this is today, just a couple of hours ago. Facebook censorship. Mad Ben Nimmo and the Atlantic Council, Facebook, has deleted all of my posts from 2017, from July 2017 to last week, because I am apparently a Russian bot. For a while I could not add any new posts either, but we recently found a way around. And here's the article. They've deleted all of his posts from July 2017 up until a couple of weeks ago. And he goes on in the article, I've covered the Atlantic Council before. They are a disgusting organisation run by, there's Ian at the bottom there, Ian, who Ben Nimmo of the Atlantic Council, you may remember, outed as a Russian bot. And then Ian actually appeared on Sky News, and the Sky News presenter actually said to him, "Are you a Russian bot?" He was actually in front of her. They don't even know what a Russian bot is, these people are. I just wanted to do a quick video on this to say, listen, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that this is more than a coincidence. It really isn't. Maybe Craig is asking questions there that people don't want asked, let alone answered. I leave it up to you, but nothing would surprise me anymore. It really wouldn't. I know people, of course, say, oh, it's a conspiracy theorist for thinking these two things are connected. I think you've got to be bloody oblivious to everything that's gone on in the last 2 years with regards to, the disinformation that we're getting and the propagandizing that we're getting now from the mainstream media and the silencing of independent media like Craig Murray to think that, and the silencing of people on social media to think that these two things definitely aren't connected. It's entirely possible they are. Why have Facebook deleted all his posts from July 2017 to last week? Why? He actually says in that article, Craig Murray does, again, I'll leave the links below, but he actually says 2/3 of his traffic to that little website of his, which is punching way above his weight because of the brilliant stuff he writes about. But 2/3 of all the traffic actually comes from Facebook. So all of those posts now that people will read and find, they can't use the link to go to his site. Strange, isn't it? I actually remarked on Twitter about this straight away. It's something that the Atlantic Council and DFR Labs and Facebook and Ben Nimmo don't seem to understand or seem to have totally misinterpreted. You see, George Orwell's book 1984 was a fictitious novel about a dystopian future. These people, Ben Nimmo, the Atlantic Council, DFR Labs, Facebook, I think they think that 1984 was an instruction manual. It certainly seems that way. Let me know what you think down below. Do you reckon these are connected, or it's just a coincidence? I say it's certainly a concerted effort to target people like Craig Murray, people like anybody in independent media, including myself. It's to target people who are telling the truth and exposing the lies and the propaganda of outlets like the BBC. I'll let you decide whether that is the case or whether it really is just a coincidence. I know what I believe to be true there. If you like this video and you want to hear more, please click subscribe and click the bell down there as well so you get a notification of when I drop further videos. Otherwise, YouTube will hide it from you, any future videos. They have admitted that they do that. We are facing an absolute onslaught, a barrage from both the corporate media and corporations who are trying to silence our voices. They're trying to stop us from bringing you the truth and cutting through the partisan BS that you get in the mainstream media. They don't like it. We're their competition. So if you can support channels like mine, please do so. Please share the videos wherever you can. Talk to your friends and family and spread the word about what we're doing. If you can support us on Patreon, please do so as well. The link is down there. You can support me for as little as $1 a month, and every bit helps. We cannot do this without your support. Thanks very much for your support. Until next time, peace and take care.